9 days between games, do you feel like that's beneficial, maybe for some guys to heal up a bit or to get more time to prepare for the next game?
I think rest is always a benefit to the football team, to the coaches. We've been on the go since the end of training camp with the quick turnaround heading to Winnipeg, but it was on the schedules, and so now a chance to just catch your breath, get a relief, actually get a day zero in there. I think it's completely beneficial for us.
And then those 2 new signings, Jared Hewitt and Tyreek McAllister, maybe just what you can tell me about them.
Yeah, I think McAllister has proven he's a dynamic player. He's got some return ability. He definitely can carry the ball in the backfield. Started off in college as a receiver, so every now and again when players are willing to come up, you take a look at them. And so, at first glance, they look great. They look like they're in shape, ready to go. And, of course, Hewitt, he's tenacious, right? His tape speaks for itself. I know he spent some time in Seattle with their ball club and, watched him at Virginia Tech a little bit, very, very consistent. And so we'll see. So anytime you can add value to your football team, you always look to do that. So that's what we're looking to do here.
I know there's an element of theater, those sideline interviews. I know that. But I haven't heard you be that intentional very often to say you will see a different team in the second half. How much of that emotion was actually present in the locker room? Because I imagine, were you surprised with what you saw in that first half? And how much of what you saw in that second half and some of the things that especially you were able to do on special teams and on defense comes down to the consistency and coaching that you have here?
Yeah, fair question. I think out of respect for you and all of our time, I'll answer this completely. Normally at this point, I'm moving forward and not really talking about the past, but, I respect the question. I'll say this, that we hadn't shown signs of any of those things leading up to that point, be it the lack of getting explosions, giving up explosions, falling down, taking penalties, kicking the ball out of bounds, punting the ball out of bounds. We didn't recognize that. We didn't have signs that was coming, or we would have addressed it. So, it was disappointing. Didn't lose confidence in them. Mad at the behavior, not the people. Nobody's out there trying to mess up. But we did. We attacked the behavior and the challenges that we were seeing extremely hard at halftime. There was no theater. There was nothing to smile about. That wasn't a performance that we expected. It's not one that we saw coming. But at that point in time, it's the hand we were dealt. So how were we going to respond to that adversity? And there was no doubt in my mind that, however, we were going to find a way to get back in that football game.
And I know this ball club well enough to know that talk about moving forward, that there is a lot of energy at practice, and that there's guys who hold each other accountable, and they always move forward. What indications have you seen of that as you install ahead of what is a big game against the defending Grey Cup champions?
Well, I think it started at rundown, right, where I go out with the team and then I leave and they handle it. It's their football team. We'll go as they go, and so whatever leaders spoke, whatever words they said at that point, that's the beginning of the growth. The coaches set the expectations. The players are always set the standard. So if they're going to set a standard that's low, that's what we're going to hit, the low standard. If they said it's high, that's what it's going to be. The discipline and accountability can't all come from the coaching staff. The responsibility always will rest with me. I'm fine with that. But the players are the ones that make the plays, and they got to make this thing go. So it's really what they said is why I'm encouraged.
And finally for me, it's only a soundbite. Bo said to us after the first preseason game that he might need 5, 6, 7 weeks to fully have not an understanding, but to be able to execute the playbook that he wants. Going forward, what kind of measurables, whether it's you or Tommy and Bo, what kind of measurables are you looking at week in and week out? Because it is surprising from us who've seen what Tommy Condell's offense looks like and when it's executed, to a standard, and we know the quarterback that Bo is. And to see miscommunications and maybe timing issues and Bo seeing something that maybe Tim didn't see, like that from our perspective might be surprising.
Yeah, I think Bo will be the first to admit that. I can't tell you how long it's going to take. I'm expecting it to click this week. Like, we're not setting a time frame that it's okay to be average or mediocre in any position, whether that's at defensive back, protecting the quarterback, getting after the quarterback. Like, the expectation is we need to be getting a little better every single day. And so that's really what I'm looking for, what we're looking for. Yeah, it's got to result in wins. That's why you play the game, is to win. So at the end of the day, setting a time frame, Bo's better to ask. He's took more snaps. It's the toughest position on the field, and the quicker that gels, it gives us a better chance. But that doesn't mean you can't win football games along the way.
I watched Tim out there. I mean, I'm assuming he's okay, and if he is, that's good news. Okay.
It's day zero, Steve. It's day zero.
But he was out there,
He was out there. I would expect him to play.
which got to feel good, I assume.
Yeah.
He is.
Yes, absolutely.
The other news injury front, both tackles didn't seem to aren't there that you had in.
Well, we're afforded the extra day, so that was by choice.
Can you update on what might happen there?
No. Well, as far as I know, we'll be status quo there and line up and play with the same tackles that started last week.
Okay, so that's still possible. What about Tunde?
Yeah.
Same thing, or?
Yeah. He's tough. He'll be out there.
Okay, I think that's it for me.
And I just want to fit this one.
Sure.
Just about, like any quarterback that comes to this league, they've accomplished something at some point. The guys just don't come here to hand the football. Like, they've been quarterbacks, they know pressure situations. But there is something to be said for a quarterback who's going to be experiencing being a starter, an 18-game season, and everything that comes, the pressures of, as you said, the most important position in this league. Can you take advantage of that? Like, I'm just talking conceptually. Can you take advantage of a quarterback who like, sure, he came in for a few reps in the biggest game when it mattered and executed and used his athleticism, but can you take advantage of a guy who really doesn't know what it's like to start in this league, who doesn't know what it's like to have the football and be in a game like this where he's going up against guys who have the experience, coaching staff who has the experience? Can you exploit that and try to play on tendencies of a quarterback who doesn't have the experience?
I'd say history shows that at times you've been able to do that, and at times they've come in and just lit it up, no matter who it is. Like, think of all the starters right now. At some point they did something well to be anointed as the starter, and they've ran with it. So I think everybody starts out as a backup, and sometimes when you're given the keys, you take advantage of it, and they're able to drive the car real well. So I think for every time that there's a story that it hasn't worked out, there's one that has, and I think you've got a competitive guy down there who understands. He's not brand new. He's very confident. Obviously, I know Ryan will have a great plan, and you just move on. And so when it comes to that, I don't have strong opinions on him specifically. I can just tell you that everybody was a backup at one time that's starting right now.